Hi, my name is Kaylee Mitchie. I got to grow up in northern Alaska. And the reason why I mention this is northern Alaska is one of the areas in the world where you can see something called the Aurora. The Aurora is so beautiful, and as a child, I got to see it many times dancing across. The Aurora can have a few different colors. The most predominantly one that I saw was green, but it can be in shades of purple, blue, red, a few different other colors, but like I said, the one I mostly saw was green. It's a beautiful and amazing thing to see because it's not just a single light streak across the sky, but it can be multiple. They can branch off of each other. They can also dance or just move in waves. And it's just quite an amazing thing to behold. What's amazing about it is it is a natural phenomenon. It occurs when solar winds hit our Earth's magnetosphere. And the different colors are affected by the different ions, and depending on what hits what, and the protons and neutrons hitting each other up in the magnetosphere depends on the colors you see, as well as how it moves, how the solar winds move affects how it dances across the sky. You can mostly see these lights in the magnetic northern and southern poles. So it's not just seen in the North Pole, or what most may know as the Northern Lights. There's also the Southern Lights. There's the Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights, Aurora Australis, the Southern Lights, or in reference to both, the Polar Lights or just the Aurora. What's amazing is that the Aurora is named after the Greek goddess of the dawn, as they were inspired by the beautiful lights that they caused. The aurora can also be seen farther or closer towards the equator if there's a geomagnetic storm that affects our Earth's magnetosphere. And so it's not just located in the far north or far south, but you can see it elsewhere. It's amazing to see throughout history how many different people have seen the aurora and how it's affected them. One of the oldest and probably richest sources of these stories is in China. The oldest story that we have written on record takes place in 2000 BC, and they say there was a young woman sitting alone in the wilderness by the bay, and this young woman, as she was sitting alone, there was a sudden burst of light throughout the sky. She described it as moving clouds and flowing like a river, and it inspired her so much that it said she became pregnant with a song and gave birth to a song. There's also many different Aboriginal tribes in Australia that have many different beliefs about the aurora and stories as well. Most of their beliefs associate the aurora with fire. Depending on which tribe you talk to and where you're at in Australia depends on the specifics of their beliefs. Some see it as a good omen, and some see the aurora as a bad omen. There's also many different Japanese folklores where they associate the aurora with pheasants as messengers from heaven. There's also a few different stories here and there that are not as common to know, but one of the great stories that is very familiar for those of us who have watched Disney movies, especially if you've seen Brother Bear, is the Native American stories about the aurora. In Native American beliefs, they believe that the aurora is the spirits of the deceased. So when the aurora is dancing across the sky, especially if it's moving very fast, it's many different colors, they believe that the spirits of the deceased are happy. And it's just so wonderful that way. For me growing up and being able to look out my back window or be outside and just stare up at the beautiful night sky and see these wonderful lights was just something so special and so unique that I got to experience. And it was just a fantastic opportunity for me to be able to see this wonderful, wonderful light phenomenon in the sky. And it's amazing to be able to find out that it's inspired so many people all across the world, all throughout the ages. It's quite a sight to behold, and I recommend it for everybody to be able to see this natural phenomenon given the chance. And it's amazing to know that it's not just in the northern lights, it's not just in the north like how I thought, because growing up I always thought it was just the northern lights, but to also know it's in the southern hemisphere, and there's also the southern lights. It's a wonderful thing we can share all